Hey guys, back at it. This is day 103 in my 1 year daily diary challenge. I had been doing a 100 day and I accomplished that, so I decided to extend it to 1 year. So, with all that said, let's get into it. Day 103. Today is a Friday and normal school day. So typically on Fridays, I'll take my son with me in the morning with my daughter, and then we will pop over to Whole Foods for a date. And we started this about 3 years ago when I was going through a separation and divorce with my ex-husband. It was just a way to have some special time with him, to connect, to talk, to create new memories, just give him a safe space that had structure. And so he has been very happy with this date day and all the structure, so much so that sometimes if we don't find the same parking space, or he can't find the same drink or the same snack he usually gets, it kind of throws it off a little bit. But we've been working with more flexibility and just working through, now that it's the winter, quote unquote winterish season, they don't have these little individual mochi ice creams available in a cold case that he liked. So I said, dude, they'll have them back in the summer. Right now we can pivot and we can try to find something else that you'll like to have instead of that mochi. And so it's just a good way to teach life lessons about pivoting and about having a routine and about being okay with things that change. And he is so sweet and he opens the door for me all the time. And he's learning, carry the basket for mom, carry this. So he's learning these little gentlemanly behavior traits. And I really do love that. So we had our date, and usually on Fridays I'll prep the kids, just, if they're going to dad's house for the weekend, just making sure they know periodically through the day, just so that they're not surprised at the end for some reason. And so that they can be thinking in that mode of I'm going to dad's house, and how they mentally and physically prepare for that. So I dropped off my son at school. We did have to detour back to the house, which is not typical, but his water bottle was looking kind of funky. And instead of sending him with a funky water bottle, we just went home and got a fresh one. And that was fine. We pivoted again and we made it work. And he got there on time, which was no problem. I had kind of tentative plans to hang out with a good friend of mine who's in the coffee industry, who's going to be helping me supply coffee to my larger scale events and maybe some of the smaller pop-ups. But he was having car trouble, so we couldn't end up meeting up. But I had a lot of stuff I needed to get done. I had to ship the order for my grandma's herbal business at the post office, so I did that. And then I decided to stop in at a coffee shop that is around the corner that I know and love, to just get some coffee and then connect and see some familiar faces. So I did that. And then I had to stop at Walmart to get a few last minute items for my pop-ups this weekend. So I did that. And just throughout this time, the night before, I had decided to pivot in a way. I had this old tattoo that I wanted to get covered up because the original meaning was no longer relevant. The old meaning was a love infinity, and I intentionally got it for my ex-husband because that was one of our sayings. I am in a phase of transitioning and rebirth, and I decided that I really wanted to get it covered up. So I talked to my love about that previously, and he said, yeah, no problem, just give him direction and he can create something. So I thought about it, I prayed about it, I meditated on it, and I decided a bat would be very, very significant of all this change and rebirth, and there's a lot of deeper meaning behind it. So I do suggest, if you want to know more, you can go look it up. But I just decided a really gothic, kind of more realistic bat with moon, stars, kind of celestial things as well. So I was trying to allow my love to let me know when he had time. And he actually did tell me that he had time on Friday, but I said no because I didn't want to take up his normal work time, but nobody had booked up the spot. So kind of last minute, I was like, hey, is it okay if I jump into that spot that you suggested? It would be really cool to get this done sooner than later. So he said absolutely, and I had scheduled to go in around 2:30 for the tattoo. So during the day, I was just kind of like, after doing my errands, getting all my stuff loaded into the bins and checking off my lists of things that I need for these pop-ups on the weekend, kind of loading them in my car, making sure I have enough space, which I do. My car is really cool. I have a Prius with a hatchback, and it is very, very spacious, and you can put a lot of stuff in there. So that is very helpful. So as I'm loading all this stuff in, I realized that I needed to order coffee for my larger event. And because I was not able to connect with my friend in the morning, I reached out via text and I was like, hey, I need this much by this time. Is it possible? And then so ensued the panic mode, because it was like, maybe it won't be ready in time. Maybe it won't be an adequate time off roast. There was just like a whole bunch of things that kept popping up. So I just started freaking out. And then I reached out to my syrup person, and the syrups wouldn't be in time. So I freaked out. And in the midst of this freak out, I just was like trying to calm myself down and reevaluate why this was happening and pivot. And with pivoting, I ended up getting my syrups and alternative milks at a greater discounted rate than I would have otherwise. So coffee situation seems to be situated, but through all of this process, I ended up going a little early to the tattoo shop where my love is, and because I just couldn't be home sitting and freaking out by myself. And so I went there and I kind of told him I was freaking out about it all, and he had some consultations and an appointment before mine, so he was doing those. But my good friend who is supplying me the coffee, I just told him, hey, I'm freaking out and I need a couple of minutes to try to like calm down and focus and figure out what I need. And he was super supportive, and he's like, I love you, I want to support you and set you up for success. And this friend is a really, really good friend who, when I met and we connected, it literally feels like I've known him since birth. Like he has been someone in my life, and someone almost like a brother to me, who is just very comforting, very calming, very safe, and like all the things. So literally every time I'm around him, I just like enjoy the time. And also he gives like some of the best hugs, and it's the kind of hug that you just like melt into, and you know that like this person's got you. And like I said, it's more of like this brotherly family love that I feel in this situation. Anyway, so I was just communicating that to my love before my appointment, that, you know, my friend's got my back. He's like, you know, supporting me, and he just like, as I said, he just gives the best hugs. And my love was like, oh yeah, really, the best hugs ever? And I intuitively said the first thing that came to my mind, because I am so certain about it, that I said yes. And his reaction was not a happy reaction. So he took it in a negative way, that his hugs are not, they don't meet standards. They don't match. They're not up to par, which is not entirely, is not what I meant. It was just that this friend of mine gives these hugs that are like a family member's hug, that it's like you're safe, you're loved, you're, all these things. Whereas my love and I, it's very intimate, very romantic, very, it's just a different thing. And just like my kids, the hugs with my kids are different too. So I wouldn't say necessarily that anyone's better or worse or inadequate or doesn't measure up. It's just a different type. So it was either the way that I delivered it or the way I reacted or all the things I don't understand really, because I was just trying to express something and share joy in a relationship that I have with a friend, and it was taken out of the wrong way. So there was a little bit of tension and change in vibration and change in mood. So I did get my tattoo done. It was the quietest 2 hours that I think my love and I have spent together. He did all the normal things, kissed me, hugged me, said he loved me, helped me load my espresso machine in the car, made an effort to go out of his way to do those things, even though he was not in a good mood and he was still dwelling on the fact that I was not saying I'm sorry for offending you or for telling you that a friend of mine has great hugs. So I don't know, all of that to say that my perspective is that I was just expressing something, and we are having a little bit of this disagreement and we're not seeing eye to eye and we're trying to work through it. It's something that seems really hard for him to work through. At the end of the day, I just don't feel like I should apologize for something that I would do again. So I literally would say the same thing again in the same situation. Maybe I could follow it up with some other, characteristic things that I'm trying to explain. But I've spent too many years, too many days, too many minutes in other relationships apologizing and groveling and walking on eggshells and changing myself to conform to fit somebody else's mold, to be somebody I didn't want to be, to not be authentic, to not have a voice. And I don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to do moving forward. I'm just going to try to continue to be authentic, to continue to check in with my emotions and feelings. And I am going to push through and heal and grow and learn. And if he doesn't grow and learn with me, then that's fine. And this is a huge, huge step into the fear that I was having. I was having a lot of fear about talking about moving to Florida, about talking about certain behavior traits that I saw. It was a big thing of fear that I would step into this and I would lose him. So I have already been working through that, and I will be very sad if things don't work out, but I have already signed on to stepping into fear. And yeah, like I said, I don't know what's going to come about of any of this, but I do know that I felt like I was being authentic and being myself, and that I wasn't saying anything that was wrong, and that my friend is just my friend and there's nothing more to it than that. And I am not responsible for other people's feelings, and I am not responsible for their reactions, and I should not apologize for them. I should only apologize for things that I do wrong, and I recognize that I wouldn't do them again. So I don't know. You guys can share your feedback on that. Tell me what you think. If you think I was like totally out of line, or if you feel like, I was right on point, or that, you can share if you would like to. But But yeah, this is something really crazy that I didn't think I would step into. But here I am stepping into fear, the fear of loss and the fear of, yeah, losing that special special partner. So there's a lot more into it than that, but we're getting really over time. So that is kind of how I ended my night. I ended my night by massive block texting just to be like, hey, this is how I feel. This is what I was thinking. I hear what you're saying. All the things. And then I had to cut it off at a certain time and just put my phone down, put it on Do Not Disturb, get into my bed, do some meditation, do some release, and just keep moving forward. I'm not going to be stuck in the mud here on this. I'm not going to grovel. I'm not going to get in my car and drive all the way out there to beg and plead. I'm not going to force something. I'm not going to force a square peg in a round hole if that's where we're at right now. But I am going to hold space. I am going to express my love. I'm going to express my gratitude. I am going to express my feelings and give space and time for his feelings. And I mean, whatever comes of it comes, and I'm okay with it. So that is kind of how I ended my day, and prepping and getting ready for the pop-ups I have tomorrow, which again, all I have to do is wake up and have a great mindset and put the craziness of the world on mute so that I can get through just my day. And I am on my bleed week and my emotions are crazy high, so hopefully I won't cry in anybody's latte tomorrow. But we'll see. I do have this breath work that I signed up for on Sunday, and I mean, it couldn't have happened on a more perfect time because I definitely need some of that right now. So I'm just listening to my guides, listening to the universe. Everything that happens is only for my benefit, and what is the benefit of this, I don't know yet, but we're going to move through it with that mindset. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening, for hanging out, for just being here with me, listening to all the things I'm going through. I do love your support, so please leave a comment if you feel like it. Like, share, subscribe. I hope you have a most magical, amazingly wonderful, fabulous day, and I will catch up with you guys tomorrow. Peace.